about another important story that we've been tracking today. And speaking of panic sell-offs, the crisis at IL&FS continues to hurt investor sentiment. Shares of the group companies saw some respite in trade today after some senior executives announced their resignation over the weekend. But many questions surrounding IL&FS still remain very critically unanswered. Sonal Sachdev is here with more. Sonal, what's the perspective that we can look at while measuring IL&FS stock and the sell-off today?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, there are several questions that arise from what's been happening at IL&FS. You can call it the IL&FS a mess, if you will. The first is who's responsible for this mess. I mean, you have people in the management of the financial services arm resigning and going away, independent directors going away. Please note, Ramesh Bawa and Vibhav Kapoor, who are part of IL&FS Financial Services, also part of the management board of IL&FS. So they've gone. So you don't have the management you can speak to. You have board members, you have LIC, SBI, central bank representatives on the board. None of the people at these entities is willing to take responsibility or come out and share a plan of what lies ahead. Nor do you have anybody else from the government or whatever coming out and sharing a plan. So that's the first question. I mean, accountability. Who's responsible for this? So there are no clear answers there. The second big question is, given that IL&FS is effectively controlled by public sector enterprises, can you infer that the government is effectively the owner of IL&FS? LIC has 25%, SBI has about 6%. You put all these entities together, that's about 40%. There's about another 12% lying in the employee welfare fund. Assume that to be part of the block, so you clearly have majority there. As far as the board is concerned, 5 board seats with these enterprises, plus 2 executive positions, and independent directors, will be appointed or will have to be passed or cleared by the board, so effectively controlled there. Given that, how you would look at any private entity saying that, okay, beneficial ownership and who's effectively the owner of these entities, in this case, it's the government. So can you therefore say the government is responsible? And therein lies the catch, because you have proceedings that have been filed against IL&FS entities in the NCLT, so insolvency proceedings. So therefore, are you saying government by inference can be seen in default, or these entities can be seen in default? The third question. So is the issue about asset quality or just liquidity? We have management teams walking off. Is it because they smelt something there and don't want to be around, or have they been asked to go? There's no clear question. There have been stray statements. We also had the State Bank of India chairman talk about some assets of IL&FS being good, but people are saying some. Nobody is talking about the complete picture. Right. So is there an asset quality issue? If there is an asset quality issue, considering that LIC is the largest stakeholder there, it calls into question the governance or the capability or bandwidth that LIC has to be able to manage so many entities. And we know LIC is up to take over IDBI Bank. Yeah. It raises questions around that. The last question. Is accountability a reason for RBI to review the cap on promoter stake? We know right now, banks, there's a cap on promoter holding. Now, with a low promoter holding, diversified holding, it's difficult to hold somebody, any one person accountable. So will RBI take this cue and review that? Maybe if you have more majority, there's more skin in the game, you have somebody you can hold accountable.
Okay, it's a heady cocktail of questions, Sonal. Thanks for that. Amidst all of this, Japan's Oryx also perhaps reportedly looking at majority stake. A lot of questions there. We'll, of course, be tracking this story through the week. But for now,